What's happening, party people? I am in Riverside, California. Sunny California. Man, I done forgot what rain feels like. I hadn't had a rear windshield wiper on my car probably 2 months. I took it off, give it to somebody because I had my own to put on. Hadn't put mine back on yet. Actually, I put the blade on a couple of days ago, but I haven't treated the glass. I got a PIA blade, P-I-A-A, PIA blade, because those things last a long time. Out here, probably last 10 years. In normal environments, probably last 2 years. Probably 2 years in Ohio, someplace where it rains a couple times a week. Probably 2 years there, and maybe 4 years in a normal climate. That's the rear blade. Now the front one's not as long, maybe about half that, but it beats the heck out of cheap blades that only last. Man, I put some blades on my car one day, only lasted 2 days. I didn't know wiper blades have an hour kind of lifespan on them, kind of like tires. You know, some tires are 30,000 miles, 60,000 miles, 80,000 miles. That's how windshield wiper blades are. Some are 20 hours, some are 40 hours, some are 60 hours. So I think these PIA blades, man, they last a long time. They do a good job the whole time. My favorite blade before that was those Bosch Micro Edge. You really like those blades. Anyway, today I'm going to be probably helping this guy named Clarence around here. He has some issue going on. It says knock sensors. I mean, whenever you read codes, go try to deal with what the code says first. And if that don't fix it, then you jack around with other stuff. So he had me replace a throttle position sensor because that was acting up. It is really strange on his car, but he's having a little bit of a stumbling when the car runs, little hesitation, and mostly when it goes above 70 miles an hour. So I don't know. Anyway, real clean looking S70, look like Little Red. We're probably going to do some other things on that today because that thing needs a few things. So I got a couple things I need to ship out today, sold on my website, and I need to check the front desk, see if some parts came in for this other 850 I was working on, maybe in the storage facility in today's video, but real comfortable situation at this other storage facility. They got RVs there too, but it's all paved. I got my own gate access. I come and go when I want. This place got an interactive manager and stuff like that. I think it's going to be easy working there. And when I get all the parts, I got to the car, it seems like the car needs some suspension work, so I'm checking the salvage yards today, see if I can find the guy some suspension that's good. If not, we're going to have to order some new stuff. So in Riverside, California, I'm going to contact a couple more people today, try to see if I can help them. Hope you enjoy today's clips. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the Tinker Day. I think they told me this was a 95 Camry. I don't see a VIN sticker there. Oh, is that it down there? No. Where's the VIN sticker on these things? This is a Buster Brown move right here. You have Volvos and Camrys. Yeah, I still don't see a VIN sticker. Ah, maybe that's it there. Yeah, that's one of them. Got some tape over here. I don't know what the tape's holding. Weird. Yeah, VIN's on that door too. We're gonna crank it. Try to figure out why it's not starting. They think it may be a fuel pump. got a new radiator. Man, that radiator looks brand new. It's got a new AC compressor. Fuel filter don't look old. It's a 4-cylinder. Spark plug wires have been replaced. Might be a nice little car here. Let's see if it'll fire up. 95 Camry, number 831. Wonder who has 832. It's been in some kind of accident at some point. You see this cross member's all beat up, buckled up. That's not normal. That's normal. Not a big deal. Heck, it may have just been a fender bender because the frame down there doesn't look damaged at all. Do. Let's go crank it, folks. See what's going on. It's got some service recommendations there. 194th original miles. 194,000. Oil change was done. 193. I'm sorry. That was next due. It's about a year and 1,500 miles past due. That's probably a 3,000 mile sticker though, so it's probably fine. We're gonna bump the starter, see if we hear a fuel pump. I do not hear a fuel pump. Crank, no start. See if we can find a fuel rail with some fuel pressure on it. Look down here. We can see where it looks like the fuel injector is plugged in. Got a minor oil leak down there, probably coming off the valve cover. And I guess that's the fuel rail running across the back. But I don't see a valve stem on the end of it. Let's check the other side. Man, it'd be nice if this hood opened up like it does on the Volvos. Man, it'd be nice if this thing had a Schrader valve on the end of the fuel rail like the Volvos does, so you could check fuel pressure. Well, I hit a couple of YouTube videos trying to figure out what's going on with this Camry fuel pump system, and man, I never seen such horrible videos in my life. But I think this is the fuel filter right here under this little springy thing with that nut on top of it. You got to get the air box out to get at it, so fuel comes up from the bottom of it out the top and over to the fuel rail. So we could actually unscrew that bolt right there and see if we got fuel pressure. Hit the starter, see if fuel squirts up over to the wall over there, bounce off the top bottom of the hood. The fuel pump is under this back seat, so I'm gonna pull this back seat, see if I see a fuel pump access here. To pull the back seat, you grab it in the middle, jerk it up. I had to wiggle my fingers under there. That was a little more difficult than I expected. I gotta get over the other side. That was hard. Whew. I unlocked all the doors already. Make sure I don't scratch somebody's camper here. This is a lot nicer camper site. You put two hands on this. Pop the seat up. Wiggle it from under the back. And that's likely our fuel pump access there. The cleanest way to test this would be to take this access up. It's got a couple of Phillips, three small Phillips. And then I'm going to, somebody's got some screws under here. Look like they went to some ground. Those are electrical ground looking screws, a bunch of them. Then we'll disconnect the fuel line, cycle the key, see if any fuel comes out of there. If not, that's likely our problem. Pull those 3 Phillips screws, 1 in the bottom, 2 in the front corner. And yes, that does look like the fuel pump access. So I'm going to remove the fuel pump line right there, take that loose, cycle the key, see if I get a fuel squirt through there, because this is the pressure side. This is the return side, and this is the electrical plug to it. We could probably also jump it, which I don't really want to hack into this harness, so I'm probably not going to do. I'm just going to take this loose and see if we got fuel pressure there. You could brush that off and spray it with some penetrant oil or something, help you break that loose. Just hold one side and unscrew the other. It was pretty tight, but once I broke it loose, came through easy. I'm gonna go cycle the key and look back there, see if I get a big burst of gas. Then it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws that hold the sending unit down, and this little return hose and that wire harness plug there. So let's hit the key, see if we get a burst of gas. Probably would not be a bad idea to slide a piece of hose on that, hang it outside of the door, put it in a bucket in case you do get a blast of fuel. You don't squirt fuel under the car like I'm about to do. Actually, I have hose and I have a catch pan, so let me go grab that stuff and slide it on there. So we're testing the fuel pump, see if it works. We pulled the cap off, disconnected the hose, the fuel pipe that comes off the sending unit. We put a little hose on there that I got from Home Depot. We put it in a bucket. Probably better to put it in a bottle, so if it squirts, it doesn't splash everywhere. But we're gonna hit the key and see if it pumps gas out of there. And I'm gonna turn the key here. Car's in park, you'll hear it crank. And we'll see if gas squirts out of that fuel hose. No gas at all. Probably got a bad fuel pump. Seeing that this top of this pump unit is as dirty as it is, I'm going to assume it's never been replaced, and we're going to work on getting the pump. Now, you could probably get a pump assembly from the dealer, probably $300. You could get a pump assembly from the auto parts store, about $225. Or you could get what most people doing is replacing the pump from the unit. Anywhere from online resources, you'll probably pay $50 all the way down to $25, or you could do that from the auto parts store locally for about $120. I'm gonna check with Brian, see what he wants to do, and go from there. To test the fuel pump on this Toyota Camry, you need a hose to hook on the fuel line once you disconnect it, a pan or a bottle to catch the fuel in case the pump works. You need a cross tip screwdriver, 14mm boxed in, and a crescent wrench or a 19mm boxed in to disconnect the fuel line. Optional thing is a wire brush and some penetrant oil. Here we go, folks. Going to continue our tinker day with this emerald green 850 sedan. Got a little bit of eczema on top, normal. And you got a little list here of stuff that we're going to be doing here. Troubleshooting the cruise control, check the codes, check noise to front end, make sure the PCV is serviceable. We're going to do the timing belt, water pump, maybe an engine mount or two, tune up, rip kit, fix the horn, and replace the shifter knob. Alright, let's get cracking. I'm going to move the car over because I need more space on this side if I do the timing belt than I do on this side. So I'll move the car over about 3 feet. And man, I don't know, this may be a 10 by 20. This is nice space. Got a light up there. I got lighting. It's not very lit, but I could pull it up a little bit to help me out with some lighting, and I think this will be a decent workspace. Well, this thing needs an A-pillar. That's shattered. Sun visor falling a little bit. Not too bad. That may be a little loose. Needs a B-pillar. Somebody destroyed that. Ooh, the dash. The dash got some issues. I don't know if that's fixable. Seat starting to come apart a little bit. This almost looks like the colored seat that Alex bought. Now somebody replaced this one. This one's vinyl. Chunks coming off the shifter handle. We got a shifter handle to replace here. AC's dialed down to max cold. That means it probably needs serviced. But steering wheel's a little nicked up, but not really bad. I got a perfect steering wheel if he wants it. Then he said the horn has issues, so it may be broke. Somebody didn't put the airbag back on right. Let's see if this puppy fires up like a Volvo should. Fires right up. Oh, something's really loose in that front end. Rear fog light switch was on. Uh-oh, tachometer just came up. Oh, we got a power issue. Power just came back on the cluster. Check engine and service is on. Let's see what's going on there. I still don't have the right data in this cluster. We got a light out here, a light out here. Yeah, I don't know, that cluster may be shot. See if we could move it over a little bit. I hear it hunting, the idle hunting a little bit. We're probably good to go. The back didn't move over, but the front did, and that's all I need is the front moved over. Alright, my clock finally straightened out. So we're going to check those wires. We're going to start off by seeing what dash lights do and don't work. I think that's a Trax light's not working, and the low oil pressure light is out. That may be because we started it. I hope that light works. We got a fast clicker. That means there's a bulb out somewhere. That one's clicking normal. High beams work. Low gas is not working. What is these other ones in here? Do. No oil level. That's not a thing in this car. We know this works. So, Trax and low oil pressure. Gotta get that low oil pressure working. I like having this scanner hooked up. That's been on for 8 minutes. It allows me to check mileage, electrical, Kobe 1, establishing communication. Sometimes this doesn't like working with these 95s for some reason. Yep, it's failure. I'll try again. Turn the ignition back a little bit, see if that helps. Yep, don't want to work. Let me start the car, see if it'll work. Didn't work. Scan it for codes. Check engine light was out, came back on. Montronic 4.3, I'm pretty sure. No codes, but I got a check engine light. That's not good. There are no codes to erase. Clearly got a check engine light up there. Let me see if it's a transmission deal. Failure to communicate with the transmission. Well, that sucks. Try it again. before I get carbon monoxide poisoning. Something just shut off. Alright, let's see if I just shut the car off and turn the ignition on again. See if it'll let me reset the service. Wow, we might have an instrument cluster problem here. Try this Kobe again. Alright, let's check the mileage and all that stuff out under the hood with the OBD1 connector. Open the hood, I can clearly see what's going on with the suspension. Man, that thing is blown out. See that? Totally blown out spring seat. That would be noisy as crap. Turn that thing around, no problem. Spring seat is totally blown out. Probably needs new shocks. Yeah, I can hear the shocks hissing. My guess is somebody may have put aftermarket on there. We'll see that when we pull the wheel to do the timing belt. Anything else going on under here? Hood blankets rubbing that. It's putting a dent in it. Hey, we got a battery clip at least. We got EGR pipe down there. Turbo tubing. Seems not too bad. A little soft. This turbo piping feels like it's torn open down here. Yeah, put your hand way down there to get to that. I don't even know if the clamp is on there. See this pipe here? It's torn open. I could put my finger in it. My finger disappears. This thing has like little to no boost. That's a major boost leak, people. So that needs to be replaced. That could be check engine light source. And that is totally torn out. Might be able to find one of those turbo tubes in the salvage yard. This spring seat is good. That's good. Let's see if we can check mileage. Driving lights are on with the lights off, so we'll cut that off real quick. Come over here, put your little screwdriver in here. Push that in and turn it. Oh, the light goes off in the switch. Yeah, there's a light on in the switch, and when you turn it off, it goes off. Let you know your driver's light's not on. My main deal with that driving light situation is just to spare your battery while you run another test and got the ignition on. Didn't get no flashback on the OBD mileage test. Let's try this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 1, 1, 2. $300,000 miles. 20. 8. 328,000 miles. Six, 2, 4. There you have it. 328, 624. I'm checking for codes now. Check in and port 2. 1, 1, 1. That means no codes. Let's check 3, then 6. Pulled the battery in. Man, I'm not sure why, but we got some corrosion going on down here. That's rare for a Volvo. And I see the airbox guide sitting down there. And the airbox inlet tube is missing. May want to grab one of those. See if we can see why this cruise is not working. The cable is jammed up in there. Cruise control. I'll pull this off, make sure there ain't nothing broke on that cruise control, but I'm gonna pull the airbox and see if I can see any damage to the cruise control vacuum line going back over there. Sometimes they rub on the back of this and that messes up the cruise. A couple of things shuffled around in here makes me think that this vehicle may have had a transmission replaced at one time. The lower transmission line is not bolted in the way it usually is. It's leaning under the battery tray a little more than normal, which makes it hard to get the battery tray in and out. The EGR plug is floating around down there, the EGR connector, and a couple other little different things. So this thing is probably on the second transmission. Oh, wait a minute. I got a rib kit to put on this car, so I won't need that turbo inlet tubing no more. So let me work on my sheet here. Check my list out real quick. And probably get started on this timing belt job. Not going to check the PCV till I get the rib kit installed. Alright, let me go ahead and get cracking on this timing belt water pump. Then I'll do this rib kit and this spark plug wires and stuff. Pulled the timing belt cover off, ready to do the timing belt water pump. As suspected, this thing has had a water pump replaced. Looks absolutely aftermarket. Black gasket, that's gonna suck. Also got a leak down here inside the timing belt cover, and the front engine mount is blown, and it's got the newer style front engine mount because this is a late 95. So I gotta figure out which one of these cams is leaking. Looks like that one's leaking. Oil on that. That one looks dry. So I'm gonna go with this front cam seal's leaking, and I have one of those with me, so I'm gonna replace that and order a new one. Looks like somebody's been in here already doing that. Somebody's got some weird timing marks on there. You see that little orange dot, and there's an orange dot there. There's an orange dot there. So they were putting extra marks on here. So let me get this timing lined up where it's supposed to be. Get this tensioner out of the way. This belt here looks good. He ordered another belt, a new one, and that other belt seems to be one of those short ones that's probably going to be too short, so I'm probably going to leave this serpentine belt on here. But let me go ahead and get this timing lined up and see what's going on with these marks and get that cam seal replaced. Yeah, somebody replaced this timing belt, aftermarket parts. It's got a, is that a graph pump? That idler is from somewhere, I don't know. Probably mess with the cam seals. That's probably why they're leaking. Yep, they look like aftermarket seals. We'll see when I get them out. And he's had the oil cooler lines replaced on this thing. I don't know if they're Volvo lines or aftermarket, but I think he told me he wanted me to take these off and block this off. So let me confirm that and go on with what I'm doing here. And as usual, the jack is damaged, closed down. Went back here to do something in the trunk and noticed that the trunk drains are jacked up, plugged up. So I'm gonna pull some of that stuff out of there. Not sure what kind of pads he's running, but man, these rotors are getting eat up by the pads. Looks like this thing's had CV axle. It's got a hole in the CV axle boot, so it's slinging grease out. That's rubbing on something. Oh, that boot split open too. So he could probably use some replacement CV axles because the boots are split. If it's not Volvo axles, or if they Volvo axles and got 380,000 miles on it, it probably don't matter what kind of axles you put in there. But I doubt that yellow paint is from a Volvo axle, so I'm pretty sure these been replaced once before they're due again. Now he had these oil cooler lines installed, and that thing is leaking. So whatever connection he put on there, it's leaking. And he's got some kind of aftermarket filter on there. You guys know I only use man filters because they're better for the cylinder head and lifters. Look, he's got oil leak over there too. So probably my guess would be his new oil cooler lines are leaking. Man, I've heard some of those aftermarket oil cooler lines don't last a year. But that is definitely oil right there on that oil cooler line. And I doubt it came all the way from over here. So we're probably going to be pulling and blocking that off while we're down here and changing this engine mount, because this engine mount's busted, maybe from the oil leak. That water pump hadn't been on there long, but man, I don't trust those water pumps that are not azing. Not sure how long the belt's been on there. Let's still go ahead and set the timing and get this stuff off of here. Crank timing is pretty much dead on. So I scraped a little bit of rust off of the harmonic balancer down here, even with this bolt that goes on the back of this oil cooler thermostat or block off plate. That's when I'm going to start marking those so I can find my crank timing quicker. And let me go ahead and knock the bolts loose from the cams up here, because these cams are on their marks, as you can see, on the fake marks that somebody made. Anytime you see paint on these screws or in these cams like this, that means somebody had this sprocket off messing with those cam seals in. If you have cam seals that are not leaking, leave that sleeping dog lie. Don't pull out Volvo cam seals to put in junk that's going to leak in a couple years. I dealt with that with the last car, so stop doing that. I got the go ahead to do both cam seals, so I'm going to do that. Also, this thing is supposed to get tune-up kit with IPD wires. I'm really partial to these Volvo wires. Look there. That wire, aftermarket junk, wouldn't even come off, and I don't know why, but that one's cut. But you try to pull the wires off, they break. I think that's broken. It came out instead of pulling off. I don't even know. Heck, I guess that was making contact down there somehow. But anyway, I got to pull these out somehow. Hopefully the ends won't stay in. They don't look like they will, but these things are crap, man. Don't put junk wires on your car. And that, of course, is filling up with oil as normal, so I'm going to dry that up. The gasket felt okay, but it don't look like this is all the way down on there. Now, somebody's done this because it's got an aftermarket clamp on there, but they didn't put the clamp on properly. They should have pushed that all the way down, then put the clamp on, but they got it raised up and the clamps on it, so it's probably could be seeping out of there too, because the oil cap is not as wet as the hole is there, but who knows. Anyway, just dry it up, move on. Don't let that worry you. There's something's blowing across the back of this too. All this is oil crud for some reason. Look at that. Oil crud. I hope that's not coming out of that little cover right there. I'm gonna do a PCV test after I get this all back together. We don't have the parts to do the PCV system, but we'll know it needs to be done for next time. And something I just noticed on here, this car may have had a cylinder head, probably extremely overheated, because this timing belt cover is melted, deformed. So at some point either this timing belt cover was on a different engine that got so hot that it melted the cover, or this engine got so hot that it melted the cover. One or the other. That's bad business right there. Since this front engine mount is toast, and it's good to have that space down there by raising this mount up to get your water pump and stuff out, I'm gonna go ahead and raise the engine and replace this mount, and then put it on in a way that will give me my clearance I need to do this work with, since I got two brand new mounts here for this car. And since this is a late 95, it uses a 96 mount. We got a lot of oil over there too. I'm gonna check the cam seals on the rear of the engine. Hopefully it's a rear cam seal leak and not a rear main seal leak. And we'll do that when we do the tune-up on it. But let me get this engine jacked up. I have the engine jacked up on the new mount. Time to drop the coolant and some oil out of this oil cooler. You know, I think I may do this oil cooler block off before I drop the coolant. That way I have a pan to use to drop my coolant in, because once I pull this oil cooler, I'm not going to have another pan if I got my coolant drained in it already. So I'm going to do this as soon as I get back. I got to get a couple of parts, so I'm going to order those, and I believe this oil cooler line will be the first thing I do when I get back. Then I'll pull this timing stuff off and install a rip kit, stuff like that. Not sure what he wants to do about this CV axle yet. He may wait on that. That's not that important as getting these cheap aftermarket timing belt parts off of here, doing the cam seals and shutting down all these oil leaks. Hopefully we'll find maybe a rear cam seal leaking over there as well. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.